What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today, I'm here to bring all of you another chapter review of Tokyo Ghoul Re Chapter 61. Bombshells. So many fucking bombshells were just lit up throughout this chapter. The amount of revelations, the ending, or throughout this entire chapter actually, how much it gave us, it confirms so much in fact, that I just couldn't believe my eyes. And I'm just gonna say, I'm probably already made the video. It might already be out. I don't know. It might be out before this video. It might be out after this video. But, pretty much what I'm getting at is, I made a video talking about Matsuri, Washu Matsuri's wife, and I talked about it actually on Twitter. If you want to check it for yourself, it's on Twitter. I have like the entire conversation about when I was fear crafting and stuff about Matsuri's wife. I want to go over it a little bit in this video, but I want to actually save that for a video I want to make, and I'm actually going to make it after this video, but it might already be up, so go check it out if it's, you know, in the description. It would be in the description if it's already out. But yeah, anyways, enough of that. Let's dive into this chapter. So many things to discuss. Let's start off like I normally do with the first page. So, we have a conversation going on between Kaneki and Fura. And pretty much they're talking back and forth about, you know, what they've been doing. For instance, Fura going through, you know, Eto's room, figuring out what she is she connected with, you know, the one-eyed king, or, you know, the one-eyed owl, you know, just different things like that, seeing if Eto is connected at all. And as we know, Kaneki already knows this. He's already well aware of the fact of who Eto is, which is still very, very mysterious, because, for one, this entire conversation on this first page is just, it makes you scratch your head. Like I've already said throughout majority of my last chapter review, it makes you wonder the angle that Kaneki is thinking right now with Fura, because, I mean, he's taking a risk, and for Kaneki to take a risk of asking Fura to do anything, it's weird, it's very suspicious, but that's not the main thing, though. Let's just look at this conversation, okay? So, this is what Kaneki says to Fura. So, how is it going? The progress, I mean. And Fura replies, beats me, I'd be very surprised if Miss Takasuki you ever did anything besides reading books. Sheesh. And it's like, for what it's worth, I returned the room as best as I could to the way it was. And Kaneki replies, thank you. I doubt it'll really do much good, but... And then Furuta's like, then why? So, here's the strange thing. This entire first page just lets us know that Kaneki and Furuta have been doing an illegal search on a person's room. For instance, Eto. Now, the thing is we don't really know the reasoning for this. We don't know the reasoning of why Kaneki is doing research at all. Now, we do know he's trying to do something with Eto. He's probably trying to either A, kill her or something else entirely, because he says this in his statement. The means be what they may, the ends will be the same. If something happens, I'm prepared to face the consequences, demoted, whatever, I don't care. So he's kind of pretty much letting us know it doesn't matter what he does to reach the goal, as long as he reaches that goal. The goal will be the same, which is very strange because I don't understand the logic here. I'm not going to really dwell on the matter because I kind of discussed this in the last chapter, but it just makes you just kind of confuddled. You're like, what the fuck is Kaneki trying to accomplish? I mean, he's probably gaining evidence on Eto, but I mean, why didn't he just go out of his way to say it in the first place? I mean, you think he would have. If he wanted to expose Eto, he would have already done it, but this actually retains towards the end of the chapter. At the end of the chapter, which I'll save, but there's something that happens at the end of the chapter that kind of might explain whatever reasoning Kaneki's doing here, why he's hiding this information, not letting CCG know, and why he's tiptoeing, trying to put everything back, making it look like nothing ever happened, which that is the strange thing, actually. That is actually something I just thought about. Think about this. Why would Kaneki be like this? Okay, look, this is what Furuta says. For what it's worth, I returned the room as best as I could to the way it was. That's what Furuta says. And Kaneki's like, thank you. I doubt it'll do much good, but why return the room back to the way it was? Like, that's strange, actually. I didn't think about that, but that dialogue is very off. You want to know why? Because if they're investigating Eto as being, you know, the one-eyed owl, or, you know, the leader of Ogiri Tree, or as a ghoul, one or the other, and they're going to give this information to CCG, it's not really going to matter if they ransacked her room, if you think about it, because they know currently Ogiri Tree is on the island. They're on, you know, Rue Island or Regret Island. They kind of know about this a little bit already. So it makes you wonder, why would they even care about putting the room back in order? Technically, think about that. If Kaneki doesn't really mind, like if he doesn't really mind if the means, or whatever the means he has to use to get to the goal. Think about it. That is strange, actually. I didn't think about that. Like, why would he go out of his way just to organize the room again, unless it was something else entirely he was trying to look into? That'd be some crazy shit. What if, you know, Kaneki's just looking into some other information? It's not even related to this. Like, it's just, he was using an excuse just to get into the room, and he's just trying to discover something. What's actually even stranger? Think about this for a second. Nah, that's too far off. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not even gonna say it. Oh, fuck it. I'll just say my thought. You know, it'd be fucked up. This is just a grain of salt here. It'd be fucked up, though, if, you remember in the last chapter, you had it to where Kaneki was talking, he was doing, like, the bad cop type shit, and he was talking to the person who watches over Eto. You remember, he's like, I'm not some crazy fan that wants to know her personal address and all sorts of stuff like that. You know, he's not some crazy fan. Now, like I said, I highly doubt this is true. I highly doubt it. But it'd be some shit if Kaneki was a fucking crazy fan and he was just trying to find out more about Eto. That'd be some fucking shit. Like what? But I don't believe so. But still, that would be some funny shit, though, because they're doing an unauthorized search on her room. They're doing things that don't really match the patterns of, you know, meets the end, like almost if they meet that goal. Like, why would they even worry about putting the room back together if they're already doing an illegal search, so forth, so on. So it's very strange. But okay, so let's go to the next page, because I've dwelled on it enough. I pretty much covered that, and there's not really much more I should, you know, talk about that situation. So you have it to where Furuta asks Kaneki, by the way, the squad you used to lead, boss, the QS, it seems they've been doing quite well for themselves. So we get the entire, you know, smackdown of what's really going on with the QS squad. We get to find out what each individual member, what they're doing, what they've accomplished, or what they've probably been doing in the time skip, what we haven't really seen. And so we get to see what each individual character has accomplished in this set amount of time. So we start off with Urie and Psycho. So Urie, he's pretty much, he is a mentor, and he's attending to underlings' education. For instance, he's actually watching over the newer underlings, the new recruits of the QS squad. He's helping them out. He's, you know, giving them, you know, education, along with probably helping them out with, you know, their Kagane and, you know, after the surgery and stuff. That's probably what Urie is doing right there. And also, he's been collecting up a bunch of achievements, for instance, you know, things to help him out later on to get his promotion. You know, Urie X promotion. That's the true OTP. And then we get Psycho. So Psycho as a vice captain. So Psycho is the vice captain, supports Urie, and in battle provides an excellent example to the new QS. So that's very funny. That is so funny when you start thinking about that dialogue there. You don't think much about it until you actually take a moment to consider how much Psycho has developed. Let's dive into this. You remember when Tokyo Ghoul first started? Psycho was very, I guess, distant from everybody in the group. She did not want to be around the QS. Like, she was just a shut-in. She wanted to play games. She didn't really have the initiative or motivation to really do anything. And she wasn't someone you would be called ideal to provide an excellent example for. Like, you know, Psycho wasn't that type of person to provide an example for people that were joining or new recruits. And so to see Psycho being a vice captain and taking the initiative to be a good example shows character development, how much she has developed as a person, and how much she cares for what was taught to her, and how much she does care for the squad now. It shows you some really good development, Psycho. So I love how Ishida threw in that development for Psycho, just showing how much she has changed since her first introduction, when she was just a shut-in playing games and eating stuff. So good job, Psycho. You're still best, girl. I'm glad you're getting that development. Now, Kaneki's like, the new QS, huh? I have not met any of them. And then Furuta's like, don't worry, I've got data. So we now get the new information of the new QS. So the new QSs are finally getting their actual real introduction this chapter. We're getting to find out more about their personality, characterization, what drives them, a little bit about their past, somewhat, not a lot, but a little bit. And we get to see what each individual, you know, different quirks about their personality are. So let's dive into Toma Higimaru. Toma Higimaru, first Academy Junior Scholarship student. Not bad. Even before he entered the academy, it was determined that he displayed a high suitability for the QS squad, and so he underwent the surgery. So this lets us know he was very compatible with the surgery, and since the very beginning, they've been looking into him, and he finally decided to, join the QS squad. So that's some interesting background information there. And the last person that really had a high suitability rating was Psycho. As you remember, Psycho had a very high compatibility with the QS squad, or the QS surgery, excuse me, the very high compatibility with it. So that means that this is like the second person to be very suitable for that surgery. So there is a possibility that Toma could be an extremely strong powerhouse in the future. Maybe similar to Psycho. Remember what Psycho did to Noro? There might be a good possibility that Psycho and, Toma could be the main fucking powerhouses of the squad. Just like the young hope Urie, his household is wealthy and rather high ranking. Okay, so this lets us know that his house is well known. For instance, this plays in a little more to one of the main concepts I was going to talk about in the separate video that pertains to Matsuri Washu and his wife, but I want to mention it here real quick. I noticed there's a lot of, I guess, background information we're learning about the world right now, with old families, the Oki retreats, the One-Eyed King, so forth, so on. We're finding out a lot, which I find this very interesting how this was brought up in this type of chapter. For instance, just like young Hope Urie, his household is wealthy and rather high ranking. That means that, Toma Higimaru's family is well known, high ranking, probably has a lot of political pull and power, and probably is well known throughout the entire world. So Toma Higimaru is probably going to be a very important character later on. A very, very vital character that's probably going to drive the series later on. Now, underneath that, we have it to where the Higimaru family is full of people in life-saving occupations like the SDF officials, police officers, and firefighters. Pretty much, his entire family, Higimaru's family, is people that love, doing jobs that help other people. Like, they have justice in their blood. They have to help others. They feel like they need to help out the world in some way or some form. And so it's kind of understandable that, something like, being a part of CCG and joining the QS squad might be something good for, Toma, because his family does jobs like that helps the human race. So it's rather in character, his entire backstory. But I have to point out something, though. Toma Higimaru, I like his personality because I noticed he's been spending a lot of time with Psycho. Since his introduction in, the first chapter he's introduced, like last chapter or whatever, he's been spending a lot of time with Psycho. He actually really looks up to Psycho, along with helping her out, even going as far as to play games with her. Because if you look in this bottom panel, he's playing a game with Psycho, which I like that. I like to see, how this person is showing some good respect to Psycho and helping her out or whatever. I mean, I don't know exactly what his entire reasoning for is to help out Psycho. Maybe it's because he saw Psycho depressed, lonely, or something similar to that, and maybe he felt bad and just decided to help her. I have no idea. But the main thing is I like his personality, how he's helping out Psycho. He seems like a really good character. I'm looking forward to seeing more about Toma Higimaru and how he matures later on down the road. So moving on to the next page, page 4 to be exact. Holy shit, this is already like 15 to 16 minutes in only on page 4. I can already see this is going to be a long review. But anyways, okay, so Jin Li Xiao. English name, Jinny Xiao. As a child, came to Japan from Taiwan. So we're getting some background information. So Jinny is from Taiwan, came to Japan. Okay? Now, I'm just going to call her Jinny from now on. I'm just going to call Jin Li Xiao. Hopefully I said the name right. I'm going to call her Jinny. That's just the name I want to give her from now on. So, she was in the gifted students class at the White Sun Garden, or Sunlit Garden. Now, I've mentioned this before in other videos. We already know Haru and all that. She was a part of the Sunlit Garden. It's been implied that Artima is also a part of the Sunlit Garden, so forth, so on. We all know about this. And once again, we find out more about the Sunlit Garden. We get to find out one of the new QS, Jinny, is a part of the Sunlit Garden. I'm just going to go on a limb here and say, which I don't think it's that big of a stretch, but Jinny is probably going to be someone very important. Very important. Like, there's no denying that. I'm just going to say she's probably very important. Like, out of all these characters I think we just got introduced, when it comes to all these new QS, I think Jinny is the most important. I really do. I really think Jinny is probably one of the most important characters just because of the Sunlit Garden tag attached to her now. Because we don't know much about the Sunlit Garden. We just know special children go there. For instance, different type of children. They're strong, physically strong, whatever. They're a little bit different. And seeing how Jenny was a part of this, and she was gifted, she was a gifted student, it goes to show you she's going to be very vital in the battlefield. She's going to be strong. She's probably going to have something very crazy, like, she's going to showcase later on. Like, she's probably going to be a powerhouse. Like, as I already said, Toma Higimaru, he's a powerhouse, because he supposedly is very compatible with, you know, the QS surgery. But this right here, in of itself, though, Jenny is also a powerhouse, actually. If you go and take a moment to consider this, like, she's an extreme powerhouse just because of what is said here. Blessed with the talent on the level of Hairu. Now, many might want to shit on Hairu, whatever, but Hairu was incredibly strong. You can say whatever you want, you can make fun of her, whatever, she's dead or whatever. Hairu was incredibly strong. She proved that she was fucking strong. That's scary. For instance, she's on the level kind of Hairu in terms of physical strength and stuff. So, with that, her specialty is bare-handed combat. None were able to match her in the sunlit garden. Holy shit. So, she's good at bare-handed combat. I'm willing to bet... You remember what happened earlier on when one of the clowns got their fucking neck snapped bare-handed by a human being? I would not be surprised to see some type of shit like that maybe from Jenny. I would not be surprised. I mean, if she's good at bare-handed combat, imagine she starts snapping Ghoul's neck and shit. That'd be fucking crazy. But still, I mean, just imagine. Because, I mean, we don't know much about the Sunlit Garden. There's mystery wrapped all around it, but there's a lot more mystery starting to pop up because of the ending conclusion of this chapter with Arima. But, yeah, so let's look out for Jenny. Jenny's probably going to be very important. There's not really much, actually, that was dived into if you actually take a moment to consider that. She doesn't really have much known about her. I mean, the only thing you get about her is that she came from Taiwan to Japan. She's from the Sunlit Garden. She's very gifted, which that's incredible news, or, you know, I guess information. And she's on kind of the level of Hairu, and she's good at bare-handed combat. But, I mean, not a lot was given. Like, we don't really know much about her personality, so to say. What drives this character, which is strange. Very, very strange. So, I'm curious to see what we'll find out about her eventually. Now, I know many are going to already be saying it, but I guess I should say it anyways. Ashita could not resist the fan service, could he? Like, I mean, Ashita doesn't do much fan service. I'm not going to really put the man down. Ashita doesn't. But, I mean, he does, if you're unaware. He draws another series called Penis Man. So, I guess he put some of his pervertedness into, Jenny's ass. Because, like, holy shit. Just, yeah, I have to point it out. Okay, enough of that. Moving on to the next character. We get to see Aura, or, you know, Shin. So, Aura right here, he gets his introduction. I've already kind of covered his character's personality. He's very shy, skittish, and it seems like he doesn't really speak his mind. Like, he's someone that needs to kind of work up the courage to be able to say what he wants to do, or what he wants to accomplish. And right now, we kind of already know much about him. Everything we kind of find out about him, we already knew to begin with. I mean, we found out that he's, you know, related to Kyoko Aura, we already know, and pretty much he is the nephew of her, so that's kind of something we found out, but we knew they were related in some way. And I mean, we get to see where they're having a meeting, you know, he's talking and all that. Just everything we see in this, you know, scene, we kind of already knew. It wasn't anything that was, you know, I guess different, or anything that we didn't expect coming from the character, because I kind of already covered this in the last chapter. So not much to really go on when it comes to Aura at all as a character. So besides that, we have it to where this is finally concluded. We're done with introducing the new QS, and we move on. You have it to where we have some dialogue. For instance, it's asked, it's like, all of them are 19, aren't they? And then you have it to where, yes. And what about Mutsuki? So now we're moving over to Mutsuki, getting to find out what happened to him. But that's very strange, actually. 19. 19 is a reoccurring number in this chapter. I want everybody to take a moment to factor that in. 19 is a reoccurring number throughout this chapter. And that's strange. Very strange if you take a moment to think about it. But all of them are 19, and also 19 pops up at the end of the chapter, which I'll discuss in a moment. So yeah, we go to the next page, we find out more about Mutsuki. Mutsuki, radical change. Like, there's a lot of differences. I mean, we know something's had to happen to Mutsuki because he's, you know, been doing something else. He's not part of the QS squad anymore. And we get to see where he's at Rue Island. He's, you know, fighting. And we get to see these new skills. For instance, just throwing fucking daggers and swords. Just kicking the ass out of these fodder ghouls like nothing. Like, holy shit. Fucking Mutsuki is kicking ass. That is the best way to describe this. And so, after clearing up some fodder with some knives, we get to see the look of Scarecrow. This is the strange part. It's so... I don't even know how to explain this, because Scarecrow... He's such a mystery. I mean, Scarecrow was mentioned in the, or introduced, kind of like popped up in the raid. Remember on the auction raid or whatever? We saw Scarecrow. Once again, we see Scarecrow again. And this time, it's like he's leaving. He's leaving the island, Rue Island. It's like he already knows what is happening or what's about to happen. It's like, oh shit, shit's about to go down, we need to fucking leave. And that's what's going on here. It's very strange, like, Scarecrow just leaving like he does, or she or he, we don't really know, but still, Scarecrow leaving, and just pops up for a quick moment, and that's about it. We don't even know what is going on there. Strange. I find that so strange how Ishida shows his character, but we don't really know much at all. Okay, so after that, pretty much, Mutsuki knocked to the side of the head, pretty much, you know, quit looking around, all that. We need to get to work because, you know, ghouls are starting to move, you know, they're moving around, getting to a seminar, Eto's seminar to be exact. But before that, we go over to, yes, we're going over to probably the part I did not want to talk about the most, but you know what, actually, I wanted to talk about this because that video I made pertains to this scene, and I just gotta say now, with some of the information we got, there's a, you know, just let me read the fucking, you know, let me just get to it, and I'll explain, okay. So, pretty much Urie, he's going to the family dinner, you know, where, you know, Matsuri is at, you know, you get to see what's going on with, you know, this big dinner going on, this big party. And there's one scene I actually want to point out that many might have missed, but let's take a moment to look at it. Urie's eating some food. He's getting some chopsticks, about to eat some food. And as soon as he puts it in his mouth, Ishida puts a lot of emphasis on Urie eating this food. I just want to take a moment to let you all consider that. When you see Urie eating this food, in his mind he's like, this flavor. We don't see any more clarification. He doesn't say what it tastes like, what it is, or whatever, but he's like, this flavor. And you just see this, like, blackness, dark type look in the background of the panel. So, I've already kind of covered this beforehand. I've talked about ROS, RC cells. I did that, you know, ghoul biology type video. I've talked about this a lot. QS surgery. There's a possibility because of Urie breaking down his, you know, barriers, you know, the frames and stuff, and getting closer to a ghoul. It probably fucked up his taste buds to where food is probably starting to taste like shit. So, with that, there is a possibility Urie is now coming closer and closer to a ghoul, because he probably thinks food's starting to taste like shit, or very plain, or whatever. So, there's definitely a problem going on there Urie is starting to experience with food. I'm assuming he's still being able to eat regular food or whatever, because, I mean, he probably would have already have died, but he's clearly experiencing some negative effects from the QS surgery, and along with, you know, taking down some frames. So we need to probably pay attention to that from now on. I mean, this has been something that's been building up for a while now, since Urie, you know, did his, you know, frame removal. So, yeah, that's something that many might have missed. So anyways, we get over back into the party, and Urie's pretty much talking in his mind. He's like, okay, so we have it to where I don't want to really ruin the pride of Matsuri. I don't want to wound his pride. I don't want to make him look bad. I need to put up this good appearance. Pretty much political mumbo-jumbo. Like, I just got to keep up this good appearance. I can't let anyone see me or anyone else in a bad spotlight because I need to be able to get in good with these guys. And that's kind of what's going on here. I hate talking about this fucking bastard every damn chapter, dude. Seriously. Ishida, you're giving me more torture. The fucking torture you're putting me through, Ishida, making me see this asshole every time now. Like, every fucking chapter since Shirazu's death, you have put this damn asshole in every fucking chapter. I swear to God, you're probably doing this purposely. But anyways, okay, so Matsuri introduces his wife, and count me surprised as fuck to how he even has a wife. How the fuck does he have a wife with his assholic nature? But we know it's a political marriage and stuff. He's being forced into it. But, I mean, still, just... So she gets introduced. We have this wife of Matsuri introduced. And I quickly want to just discuss some critical points about her character. For one, she's so young. She looks young. She looks beautiful. She looks like a pretty girl. And, I mean, honestly, too good for Matsuri. Way too good for Matsuri. Like, beyond what, you know, he deserves. He deserves actually an OTP of maybe his head on a pike. Maybe a pike-chan. That's what he kind of needs as his, you know, wife, because he doesn't really deserve, you know, a woman like her. But anyways, so the key points we want to look at is that she says this: your work is all but lost to me, but nonetheless, I wish you the best of luck. So she doesn't really know much about Matsui's work, how he operates, what he does. She's completely unaware of what he does. Now, as I said, I discussed this entire topic in a separate video, so you can go check it out for yourself. It's probably in the description. I'm not going to dive deep into this because I want to save it for that video, because there has a lot of content. I want to keep that core focus of the video on that, or the core focus of that topic in one video, just because it's just so important. But, pretty much she's from also an old family as well. We kind of find out she's from an old family, she's a respectable family, and so, if you go figure, for an old family in Tokyo Ghoul, usually they have something very important going on. For instance, there's stuff that, you know, usually retains around that family that might have something to do with maybe, you know, ghouls, you know, something. I mean, usually old families have something to do with the main plot of TG. But one of the biggest shockers is what Matsuri said. A boring woman. A boring woman. Oh, shit. Matsuri, I'm just gonna say right now, your downfall is probably gonna be that, quoting Matsuri, boring woman. That's gonna be your downfall, Matsuri. That's gonna be your fucking downfall. Matsuri, you're gonna die by that boring woman. I'm willing to bet she's gonna fucking kill your ass. I can already see that shit. I can already see that shit, man. I see this shit. Because... Fine, I gotta say it for the video, because like I said, I want to keep the core concept of the video on some of the main other topics, but right there, though, I can already see the downfall of Matsuri being because of his wife. Oh yeah, so moving on, we have it to where, you know, they're having their, you know, political dispute. Pretty much, you know, Urie's trying to find out more about the situation or living situation that Matsuri is in. For instance, how he's living with his wife, how he doesn't want to be with his wife, how it's set up. He wanted to stay in Germany, he didn't want to come back so early, and thanks to, you know, the other Washus not doing their job, for instance, being able to take out Urie Tree, he got called back sooner, so forth, so on. He's really pissed off because, I mean, he had to marry this woman he didn't want to marry, and he starts getting into the entire conversation about marriage. For instance, like, who will you marry, Urie? And Urie's like, wait, what? And this is a topic I didn't expect to see brought up like this in Tokyo Ghoul, like this early or something. But I mean, Urie gets asked the question, like, who are you interested in? Who will you marry? And this is what Urie replies with. Somewhere down the road, I think, when the right opportunity presents itself. And in his mind, he's like, really? Do I really think that? So Urie doesn't really know what he thinks, but this is a good sign that Urie eventually might be with someone. So, I'm very curious. I mean, what does everybody, or what do you all think? Like, who do you think Urie should be with? Now, I know many joke and like to say promotion, that's the OTP, but I mean, seriously though, I mean, who do you ship Urie with? Because for this to be mentioned, it seems like Ashida's at the very least has thought about the possibility of marriage or something for Urie, or some of the characters. I like that though. I wonder. Okay, so, we get conversation about CCG investigators. They go to both extremes. You have it to where, you know, some love to, you know, stay, you know, single. Some love to get settled down and marry someone as soon as possible, like, you know, Kuroiwa. And then, you know, there's others that have, like, some very extreme personalities. For instance, you know, the Motto family with how they want to keep the last name. You know, stuff like that. And so, I mean, some really awesome information. We also get to find out that, you know, Akira, she's very similar looking to her mother. Stuff like that's playing out. And that's about it when it comes to this information on that part. So, we move over to Ogiri Tree. Now, Ogiri Tree, this part is very, very important, because this is where the main beef of the chapters, or this arc, is going to be, because we're going to Rue Island, or Regret Island, and we know that's going to be one of the final battles of probably Ogiri Tree, or this Ogiri Tree. This is probably going to be the final battle of them before they probably get reconstructed, because of what is coming. So, this is like the calm before the storm. That's exactly what's going on here. Everybody's meeting up, they're having a conversation about the situation, all these characters on the Ghoul side are talking, and we're figuring out what is going to happen next. So we get to see all these characters popping up, you know, Ayato, Miza, finding out more about Naki and how Eto's shady, just different things here and there, conversations. And as one thing leads to another, we eventually go into Eto. We get to find out more about what Eto is thinking, or what she wants to do. And it's crazy seeing the inside of Eto's mind, actually, when she starts thinking. Because this is, like, one of the first times I think we've ever seen, like, a flashback. Eto having a flashback along with, like, her inner thoughts. Like, it's very strange. Like, it is something very different from normal Eto personality we see. And I just want to take a moment to factor that into this. Because, I mean, Eto's always shown to be, like, a little bit crazy. To, you know, just, I don't know, she's very different from a normal person. And Eto, in this moment, she's just sitting on a couch. And you see this panel around her. It's nothing but white. And it's like she's lonely. Or she's lost. She's in a blank state. One or the other. It's like she's thinking really hard about the situation. And as you see this, she starts thinking about the past of her previous fight she had. And you get to see, you know, Kuroiwa fighting Eto. It was 13 years ago. And, you know, they're trying to revenge, you know, special class Urie. And eventually you see it to where, you know, Eto's arm is taken from her. And because of this, we get to find out more about Eto's mentality. If, you know, how it's been a long time, how old she was, and how she let her, I guess, her pride, or she thought she was unbeatable. She thought she was so strong that she couldn't be defeated, and it got the better of her, and she eventually got crushed for these mistakes. And we get to see this, which is very, very jarring, because it makes you wonder, why would Ishida show this type of flashback? When we get flashbacks, usually there's a death of a character or something very bad. So this might be, I hate to say it, but this is a potential death flag for Eto. I'm not even joking. This is a very good potential death flag for her. I mean, we don't know. I mean, there is a possibility she won't. Maybe just, you know, she just want to dive into her character some more. But, I mean, last time we really had some good, you know, backstories and characters, they've died. And so I wonder if Eto just got a death flag from Ishida-sensei. So, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, okay, so then Eto's like, both Tree and Takasuki, I've been with them for 13 years now. I really am getting old. Death flag central for Eto. Holy shit, death flag central. So, Eto has her little seminar. She's starting to talk to the entirety of, what I guess, whatever's left of Ogiri Tree, or whatever really is important to Ogiri Tree. She starts talking about, I guess, all of you ghouls of Ogiri Tree have probably realized now that our, you know, force is limited. We're losing a lot of members, and a great change is upon us. So the Ogiri Tree that we know of after this arc is probably going to be gone. It's probably going to be a new Ogiri Tree, something that is not the same as we knew from, you know, the first part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul to the entirety up until this arc. I'm willing to bet Ogiri Tree is going to have a radical change. So Eto's kind of pretty much saying this, like, things are going to have to change, stuff is going to be different from now on, and we got to continue moving forward. So with that, Eto talks about revealing information about herself. She says, I am the ghoul known as Owl. I also write books under the name Takasuki. That is some incredible information Eto's just revealing right there. Like, holy shit, Eto revealing about her being under a writer's name, a book writer's name, Takasuki. Like, that's some critical fucking information to share, and that just goes to show you how dire this matter must be. But also she reveals that she is known as the ghoul Owl. And as she continues to elaborate, she says, like, 13 years ago, as the One-Eyed Owl, I led a small band of ghouls in raids against the CCG in the end, though we were the ones killed. My arm was taken from me by a muscular youth with the thick eyebrows. Years later, that very same arm was yet taken again, but that is a story for another day. Now, we know who took, you know, Eto's other arm, but still, Eto's kind of revealing all the different things of how her mentality is. For instance, how she let her strength get the better of her, how she thought she was strong, couldn't be defeated, and she was overconfident. And with this conversation, or this entire seminar going on, you have it to where Mutsuki is actually watching with the squad right now. They're watching this seminar, and they're like, what's going on? They're being quiet and stuff. But I want to take note of something. If you look closely as Eto is informing everybody, Pineapple, or Sato, he sees them. He says Hachiko. Now, I looked up Hachiko. I was like, okay, what the fuck is Hachiko? Like, I had to look it up because I was just very confused. Like, hey, I was like, what the fuck is Hachiko? So I went, typed in Hachiko, Tokyo Ghoul Hachiko, and what popped up was, you know, Hachikawa. Now, I know who Hachikawa is, but I was just to make sure, and yeah, so I'm going to assume that, you know, Pineapple or Sato, he sees Mutsuki and them in Hachikawa, and he knows exactly what they're doing. Like, he sees them, and that's not good sign for them, because, I mean, for him to see them, that means they're going to probably be attacked, maybe next chapter, and yeah, things are going to get fucking bad. Very, very bad, quickly, because, I mean, Eto's there, she's doing a face reveal, all sorts of shit's probably gonna happen, because Eto probably doesn't want her face revealed to humans, CCG. So yeah, things are probably gonna get bad. Pineapple might finally be on the move again. So anyways, as that continues on, we have it to where, as you all are no doubt aware, Ogiri Tree exists to create a good world for us ghouls. So the main point of Ogiri Tree, the main motive that drives Ogiri Tree, is to make a good world for ghouls to live in, to be able to survive and not be hunted down by CCG. A world in which ghouls can live openly and freely. Our enemies are the doves of CCG. However, eradicating the warped root that lurks behind all of this is my true aim. Okay, so this is the stuff that might throw many of you and go, like, over your fucking head. You'll be like, what the fuck? Okay, I mentioned this many times before. I even made a fucking review. I might even have that in the description as well, the review. But I talked about the Birdcage. I talked about the Birdcage, V's motive, what they want to accomplish, and that's exactly what Eto's talking about. I've already talked about in depth about what V is. They are the Birdcage. They are controlling the world. They're controlling the world's politics to everything. They're controlling economics, politics, the way the world works, the way the ghouls are viewed. They control the news. They control everything. They're like the Illuminati of the ghoul world. Or, you know, Tokyo Ghoul universe. And because of this, Eto wants to remove this birdcage that V has set up. This limited view the world views ghouls as. She wants to completely destroy that where they can be free. They want to let the bird out of the cage. And so Ogiri Tree's true aim is not CCG, not doves, but V itself. So this has already been hinted at multiple times, but now it's finally been clarified. The true motive of Ogiri Tree is to take down V. It has never been CCG. It's been a war against V. That's good information. That was a good clarification to that plot thread we've been wondering about for a very long time. So Eto and Ogiri Tree's main goal is to take out V. Now, besides that, we get to the entire conversation of the Doctor, Dr. Kano. Now, I've discussed this also quite a bit with, you know, Dr. Kano's viewpoint on the birdcage. I've discussed this in many other videos as well, and this goes to show you that that entire concept was indeed true. So, the world is encased in the birdcage. Eto is kind of, you know, taking this ideology of how, you know, the Dr. Kano looks at it and is now interpreting it in that way to be able to kind of change the world for a better for ghouls and humans. And because of this, she wants to destroy it, they talk about it, and eventually it leads into finding out more about how Ogiri Tree was founded, with how CCG was founded, and this is the information that made us all shit a fucking brick. So, you know, let me actually read this. The parent organization that eventually became CCG was founded over 100 years ago, in response to the appearance of an extremely powerful one-eyed ghoul. So, 100 years ago, there was an extremely powerful one-eyed ghoul that was born. Powerful enough that humanity had to join hands to defeat it. So this ghoul that was born had to be defeated. Humanity joined together to defeat this one-eyed ghoul. That ghoul must have been fucking powerful. Very, very powerful. Probably as different as Eto is. I've already discussed this in length about Eto being very different from other ghouls. And so with this, it's very strange how once again we're getting more information on how different these one-eyed ghouls are. These natural, I'm guessing, one-eyed ghouls are. Now, that lets us know that CCG was founded, and why the Washus came together to found, you know, CCG was because of one-eyed ghouls, or one-eyed ghoul in general. Now, to clarify this a little bit more, what we found out is that Ogiri Tree was founded by this one-eyed ghoul. So the one-eyed ghoul we've seen that's a skeleton since the very beginning is actually the one-eyed ghoul from the past that is dead. Supposedly is probably dead, passed on. And so the one-eyed king, or that we hear constantly in the organization of Ogiri Tree, was actually the one that made humanity join forces in the first place to make CCG. So we found out now the reason why we've always seen the one-eyed king be displayed as a skeleton is because that king was dead. So very good foreshadowing from Mashita Sensei when it comes to that regard. Now, moving on, Eto talks about this. I am sure there are some among you that believe the One-Eyed King to be our king. Gentlemen, the One-Eyed King is not me. Okay. Let me explain this. Many are probably thinking about this right now. Okay, so this confirms Eto is not the One-Eyed King. That's not to say Eto wasn't filling that spot for the time being, because she's technically one-eyed. What this means, or the way this panel is depicted, is she says the one-eyed king is not me. But as soon as she says that, we get a panel to where we see Kaneki. Between not even me you see Kaneki writing on a board like he's looking up something, he's doing some research into something, and he's marking stuff down on a calendar, which I'll get into in a moment. But Eto says this, the One-Eyed King is not me, but then we get, instantly Sushi says that, we get Kaneki on a panel. So this makes me believe that it's setting up for possibility of Kaneki becoming the One-Eyed King. There is a good possibility either Kaneki can become the One-Eyed King, or someone else entirely. Now, besides that, which it has been kind of implied maybe Kaneki might one day, you know, join Ogiri Tree or something. I mean, Ishida's kind of hinted this before. I mean, seeing this now, it's kind of cool. I mean, that'd be a crazy path for the series if Kaneki does indeed join Ogiri Tree and becomes the king of Ogiri Tree and to break out of the Birdcage. I mean, if you think about it, Kaneki did want to change the world. Think about how the beginning of the series was when he first became a ghoul. You remember that? How you want to, like, change the world a little bit or break out of the egg and stuff? I forget the exact quote or what was said in that, but it was a long time ago, part 1 of Tokyo Ghoul, and Kaneki wanted to change it. And that's kind of what's going on here. So, Kaneki is actually a perfect candidate to being the One-Eyed King. So, GG right there. Okay, so, here is the next. After that bombshell we just got, we get to see Arima pop up. And Arima says this, which, I was like, what? Like, when I saw this, I'm like, what? He says this, V is calling about Kin Kaneki. What? Like, what? Okay, this is so fucking crazy information. Okay, I've been waiting. I've been trying to hold it back. This information is so fucking crazy. Because you know what this means? Arima knows about V. That means he knows about the real truth about the world. He knows how the world is working. That means, like, okay. Let me just do a brief explanation for this, okay? V, as I said, they control the world. They burn every fucking bridge that tries to make it to where ghouls and humans can coexist. We know that ghouls only need RC cells to survive, so there could be a way to be able to transfer blood between humans and ghouls without the possibility of ghouls feasting on humans. They just need the cells inside, so there could be a way to do some form of, I guess, ways to transfer blood to humans or get the RC cells out and feed, ghouls or whatever. So there is a way to have mutual coexistence between the two species, even though technically ghouls are an evolved species of humans. And Arima knows about this. So you're telling me Arima that knows about how the world works, because he knows about V, that means he knows about how the world fucking works. Or at the very least, he knows what's going on. So that means that him hunting down ghouls, he knows how he is killing technically innocent people that are being forced in that situation thanks to V and CCG. So Arima right now is not being pegged as a good guy. By no fucking means is he a good guy right now. Because right now, he's being pegged as a devil. Like a devil right now. Because, I mean, think about this. This is actually kind of what you can consider biblical symbolism in a way. I mean, think about it. Eto has kind of symbolized herself as a god. She's a god, or she's like Eve and stuff. Like, she feels like she's higher up there. And when you think about that for a second, Arima fits the description of a devil, like some form of devil now, because of this. He knows about V. He's not trying to stop it. He might, you know what, there is a possibility maybe he's trying to move up in the rankings and change V. That's always a possibility, but, I doubt that. I really fucking doubt that. So, right here, knowing about V, Arima is shady. He's not a good guy. You can't peg him as a good guy anymore. You can't. He's badass, he's Papa Arima, but he is definitely not a good guy anymore. No, you could just throw that out the fucking window. Because now he's connected with Furuta as well. I haven't even gotten into that. Furuta is connected to V. Oh, shit. He's connected to V. So it's not just Arima, but Furuta's connected. Bruh. You know why this is fucking crazy? We don't know which side Furuta is on. We have no fucking idea side he's on. Okay, let me explain. Why this is crazy is because we know Ogiri Tree and clowns are getting their information. And it's already been hinted that he is working with the clowns and giving them information. We already know this. So, with him giving information to the ghoul side, and then working with V at that, like, let's look at the positions that Furuta currently has. CCG, possibility of a clown, possibility of an Ogiri Tree member somewhat, or something close to them, or an informant. And then V on top of it. 4 fucking things, 3 to 4 different things, that is crazy. This man is playing 3 different sides. Like 3 to 4 different sides. That is ridiculous. That is fucking ridiculous. He is playing so many sides right now. You don't even know what side he is on. You don't. And this doesn't even begin to start with the Sota stuff. With how Furuta is Sota. That doesn't even... Oh my god! Oh my god! That's crazy! It's fucking crazy, dude! That means that Furuta... He's known about... And you know, let's ask about this as well. I mean, let's look at this. Not ask, but look at this. Look at what name was mentioned right here. V is calling about Ken Kaneki. They did not say Heise Sasaki. They did not say Heise fucking Sasaki. They're asking about Ken Kaneki. They're asking about Ken. You know what that means? That means that Arima might already know that Kaneki is back. V knows. Oh shit. I'm done. I'll save it for later. I might make a separate video or something, but holy shit, the revelations and bombshells here about V popping up and all that, it's crazy. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.